everyone and welcome to Wednesday's literacy lesson. So I'm going to be doing the Year 2 comprehension booklet today, and before we go in with our new learning we're going to say well done to Samuel and well done to Charlie, because I've been blown away by their comprehension work so far this week. Samuel did some lovely answers to his postcard from Italy page, and Charlie had a lovely lesson with his thank you letter, and he answered his questions and he had a go at writing his very own. And also, Samuel, you did my challenge and you went to research all about Italy and you sent me a little bit of a fact file, which was lovely. So well done Samuel and well done Charlie. If you haven't sent any pictures yet this week, please remember today and then I will put you on my well done page for tomorrow. Okay, so well done Sam, well done Charlie, keep it up. And now we'll move on to our new learning. So you need your work booklet please, and you need to find page 3. And the title of your page today is Laura's Treehouse. So see if you can find that page, and when you've got it, we're looking at the piece of text at the top of the page. And I've put a photograph of a treehouse on the board here, just in case you weren't sure what they looked like. You might have seen a treehouse before, or you might have one in your garden, or you might have one in a woods near you. Okay, some people might have stayed in a treehouse before, and some of us might not have ever seen one, which is also fine. So they can look very different, because this treehouse here is in the middle of a woods and a forest, but this treehouse in this picture, which I think is a little bit like the one from our text, is in somebody's garden. Okay, so we're going to learn all about the treehouse text today, and it's a recount. Okay, so it's about a girl called Laura, and she's written a recount of her day all about a surprise. So let's have a look at some of the words in our text first that we might not know what they mean, because it's really important when we do comprehension that we understand the text, because we can't answer questions about something that we don't know what it's about or what it is. So I've chosen 4 words from the text that I think we might need to discuss. So as I talk about them, I'd like you to look very carefully, and if you can spot it in your booklet, put a circle around the word or underline it so you know where it is in your sentence, okay? So the first word we're going to look at is the word surprise. Now, you might have had a surprise before, or you might have felt surprised about something. So have a think about when you have felt surprised by something, okay? And have a little discussion at home with about what the word might mean. A birthday surprise. Sometimes we might have a nasty surprise. Something might scare us. Maybe if a spider's in your bathroom, it might surprise you. It might make you feel a bit scared. Or you might have a happy surprise or a fun surprise, like on your birthday, or if you have a present, okay? So the meaning of the word surprise is an unexpected or astonishing, and that's a very big word, event, fact, or something that's happened. So if it's not expected, if it was something you didn't know about, it's a surprise. So we need to know what that word means for our text today. The second word I've pulled out is treehouse. And we've just had a little discussion about a treehouse, but some of us might not know what one is. We might think that it's a house made of trees, or a house that looks like a tree. So it's really important we know what it means. And the word treehouse is a structured build in the branches of a tree where children can play. So it's like those pictures we've just looked at, and if you look on your text now in your booklet, there's a little illustration of a tree house. So have a look at it carefully and become familiar with what it means and what it is. My third word, which we need to know the meaning of for our activity today, is the word ladder. Now you might already know what a ladder is, and you might have seen one before, but what we want to discuss today is that ladders can look very different. And a ladder on a tree house might not look the same as a ladder that you might have in your garden, or a ladder that the window cleaner might use. Okay, so a ladder is a piece of equipment consisting of bars or steps between the bottom and the top, and it can be made out of wood, metal or rope. So a tree house might have a rope ladder because somebody might have made it themselves. Okay, and it's used for climbing up and climbing down something. So if you've got a tree house at the top of a tree, you're going to need a ladder to get up there and also to get back down. So we need to know what a ladder is. And my last word is the word garden. Now some of you might have a garden at home, but some of you might not. So we're going to just talk about what a garden is so that we can picture the garden from our text. So a garden is a piece of ground that joins onto a house and in which grass, flowers, shrubs or trees might grow. So if you've got a garden in your house, go outside into it now and have a look around, see what you can see. Because when we read our text, if we know what it is that is in the text, it will help us use our imagination to picture it. Okay, and it will help us to build our answers, okay? Really good for the imagination, that. So a garden is a piece of ground with grass and flowers and shrubs and trees in it, which is very useful if we're talking about a tree house. So, we're going to read the text together now, but before we do, I'm just going to put it under the visualiser. I'd like you to have a look at it and have a go reading it yourself. See which words you can decode, see if you can use your phase 5 phonics to help you read fluently. Okay, have a little read of it and then we'll go through it together. Okay, so we need page 3 and the title is Laura's Treehouse. And you should have the same piece of text in your booklet as me on the board now, okay? If you haven't got this on page 3, you're watching the wrong video, okay? So the Year 2 booklet, page 3, Laura's Treehouse. So by now you might have read it, so well done if you have, so you should know what it is about. But we'll go through it together. So we've got lots of phase 5 phonics in here today, and also lots of phase 3 sounds. So let's try and read it really confidently, looking at the punctuation as well, and not forgetting that when we're reading this piece of text, we need to really understand and try and remember what is happening for our questions, okay? So we'll start at the beginning, and we've got, when I came back from school, there was a surprise waiting for me. While I was at school, my dad's built a treehouse in the garden. I have no idea how they made it so quickly. You have to climb up a ladder to get in. Inside, it is full of comfy cushions and bean bags. My friends and I played in the treehouse until it got dark. I wanted to stay in the treehouse all night, but my dad said I should wait until tomorrow. So there is our text for today. You might want to read it again, or maybe 3 times just to get it into your head so you know what it's about. So we know now that this piece of text is all about a surprise. And I'm going to underline the word surprise here. Okay, if you haven't already, draw a line underneath it, because we know that the surprise is the treehouse. So underline the word treehouse, and it's Laura's surprise from her dad's. So her dad's had built her a treehouse when she was at school, and she went in there with her friends and she wanted to stay in there until it was dark. And all of that information is in our text. So that's why it's really important when we're reading, we really take our time and think about it, okay? So if you want to read again and highlight some of those key words, and another good thing to do with comprehension is have a look at your questions now, read them carefully, and any of the questions, well, what they ask you to answer, look at the words in the text. So we're going to do question 1 together, and I'm going to model how we can answer it, okay? So, back onto my board, and we're going to do question 1. So question 1 is asking us, when did Laura's parents build the treehouse? So it's asking us when, and that's what we need to remember when we're reading questions. The first word is really important, because it isn't asking us why, it isn't asking us how or what. The question is when. So when something happens is at what part of the day. Was it the morning? Was it the night time? Was it the evening? Okay, was it the afternoon? Was it light? Was it dark? So we know in our text we're looking for when Laura's parents built the treehouse. So I'm going to underline treehouse because I won't forget then that that's what I'm looking for. And I've typed up a piece of the text on my board here, so if you look for it carefully now, read your text again, and we're looking for the word when. When you found it, I'd like you to draw a line under the word when. And that is a very big clue that we're in the right place for our question, okay? When did Laura's parents build the treehouse? And here it tells us when, because the word is in the sentence. So let's read it together. When I came back from school today, there was a surprise waiting for me. While I was at school, my dad's built a treehouse in the garden. So there are two sentences, and in that sentence there, our answer, okay? So have a little think about it now at home, and have a go at writing the answer in your work booklet for the question. When did Laura's parents build the treehouse? Was it the morning? Was it at night? Was it when it was dark? Or when it was sunny? Have a think. When I came back from school today, there was a surprise waiting for me. So it wasn't before she went to school, because when she got back from school, the surprise was waiting for her. So it must have happened when she wasn't there. So I think we found our answer. And if you look carefully at the end of this sentence here, we've got another clue. While I was at school, my dad's built a treehouse in the garden. So it tells us twice the answer. So we're going to put it into a sentence now. So see if you got it correct. Now when we write our answer, we need a full sentence. We don't want to start it with because or with so, because if I was reading it and I didn't know what the question was, I'm not going to know what your answer is about, okay? So we need to use the words from the question and use the words from the text to write a super sentence. Capital letter, finger spaces and a full stop, remember. So I'm going to think about my sentence first. I'm going to say it out loud to make sure it makes sense. Then I'm going to write it in my best handwriting, and you need to do the same. So when did Laura's parents build the treehouse? So Laura's parents built the treehouse when Laura was at school. That's going to be my sentence. It makes sense and it answers the question. So I'm going to write it now, thinking about my capital letters and my handwriting. So Laura's parents, and it's a capital O because it's a name and at the start of my sentence. We've got an apostrophe there because the parents belong to Laura. So Laura's parents. And if you are struggling for spellings, year one, use the text to help you. Laura's parents built nice tall ladder letters for the U and the T and the B. Laura's parents built, tricky word, the T and an F. Laura's parents built the treehouse, so we've got the spelling there. And then the key word from our question, when Laura, remember capital letter because it's her name, when Laura was, think about how we spell was, it's was. Laura's parents built the treehouse when Laura was, where was she? At school. Well done. And I'm going to put a capital, I'm going to put a full stop at the end. Like that, so I know it's the end of my sentence. Now I think I've got a brilliant sentence there that answers my question. Laura's parents built the treehouse when Laura was at school. It is answering when they built the treehouse, okay? So I'd like you to now have a go at the other questions in your work booklet. There are 4 questions. We've done this one together. And just a reminder that in your bag that was delivered to you, you had a yellow exercise book that has got lines in it, okay? And if you run out of space in your comprehension booklet, you can write your answer on your lined paper. As long as you send me a photograph of your answers, it doesn't matter where you've done them, okay? Thinking about your handwriting. So once you've done your 4 questions, I have got a little challenge for you. If you want to do it, you don't have to, but I'll be very impressed if you do. I'd like you to write a recount of what you have done today. So a little bit like Laura wrote about her surprise treehouse, I'd like you to write what you've done today, and I can read it then, okay? So well done. and have lots of fun today, and I'll see you for Thursday's literacy tomorrow.